I've shown the HP MicroServer on this channel a few times because I feel it's an incredible machine. It's very inexpensive, it's very low power, of course, but it's also very, very flexible. And today I found that this machine is even more flexible than I thought. One of the reasons I purchased some of these machines is because they can actually fit 6 hard drives inside. We have 4 bays here as default that you can use plug and play more or less, plus you have a 5.25 slot in here where the DVD or CD-ROM player was supposed to go. Now I don't need an optical drive anymore, so in here you can actually fit 2 drives for a total of 6 drives. Now the SATA port on this motherboard is limited to 4 drives, plus there is an extra SATA port, but on a previous video I showed you how to reflash and install an LSI controller card which can control up to 8 drives. Plus we also swapped the power supply and we upgraded the RAM to the maximum 16GB of ECC RAM, and I thought I had a very, very capable machine, pretty low power, but for storage, totally fine. Now I was very happy with the machine and I thought I had it to a point where I couldn't get it any better, and I thought, you know what, maybe I should buy some decently sized hard drives so I can store all my videos and all my data, because obviously when you have a YouTube channel, data becomes a problem, especially if you're shooting in 4K. And then AI happened and the RAM prices skyrocketed, the storage prices also skyrocketed, and I felt it was a bit too expensive for my budget. And then I stumbled into SAS drives, serial attached SCSI, which are basically drives for servers and data centers and more enterprise usage. And I realized that those drives, second-hand particularly, are a much lower price than SATA drives simply because they don't work on regular computers. And I thought, how cool would it be if I had a proper server which could use SAS drives? I could save a ton of money. And it turned out that SAS and SATA, they actually share the same connector. I didn't know about it. I thought it was something completely different. And it turned out that the backplane of the HP MicroServer is actually SAS compliant. It's SAS compatible. Now, the controller on the motherboard is not SAS compatible, it's only SATA. But guess what? We just installed an LSI board on it, which is an LSI SAS controller card. And guess what? This machine can actually install SAS drives. So I went ahead and purchased a second-hand 10TB SAS drives. It's a Seagate Exus. It's for data center, and I thought, let's test it. And if it works, I can buy more. And guess what? It works totally fine. It's working with TrueNAS. Obviously, you don't need TrueNAS for that if you don't want to use ZFS. And for now, I only have 1 drive on my dataset. So this is not really recommended. The software is warning me that there is no redundancy, but it's working. I've been transferring data from my other computer via network because I'd like to test it. I'd like to make sure it works totally fine. I think overnight I'll run a long test and then I'll do a resilver, whatever it's called. Just put it to its paces to make sure that it's happy. And then imagine that you can buy 10 terabytes more drives, and with just the existing default slots of the MicroServer, you can make a 30 terabytes NAS storage unit. I paid that 10 terabytes drives £100, which is about $120, something like that. Now imagine you populate it with 4 10 terabytes drives. Suddenly you have a 30 terabytes NAS, which costs you more or less £350, say 375 if you want to add the LSI card, say 400 with the RAM and the power supply and everything. £400 for a 30 terabytes plus redundancy NAS server. Now granted, this server can only do 16 gigabytes of RAM, so in theory you shouldn't really go over 16 terabytes of storage. Now whether you can do 20 and be fine, I'm not sure. Whether you can do 30 and B5, I don't really know. I guess I will buy some more drives and test it myself. You don't have to use ZFS, you can use OpenMedia Vault, you can use something else that doesn't require the processing power and the RAM that ZFS does. The bottom line is you can use SAS drives on this machine just by adding an LSI or an additional SAS card, which is very inexpensive. I still need to run some tests, but I feel this has opened a whole new horizon of possibilities, because suddenly you can use SAS drives, which are very inexpensive. You don't need to buy 10 terabytes drives, of course. You can go with 6 terabytes drives, and by just using the 4 slots here, which don't require any mod or buying any accessories or do any extra wiring, you can get to 18 terabytes of storage with very little money. And this is the Seagate Exus drive, 10 terabytes that I purchased. This is a Helium filled drive. Helium is gas and it's much lighter than air. And that allows for more platters to be fitted within the same enclosure because there is less turbulence. And more platters means more capacity. If you compare this drive with a regular SATA drive, you will see there are no screws anywhere to see, and that's obviously because the less amount of openings that might leak the gas, the more reliable the drive is. Now, what makes a SAS drive so special, serial attached SCSI? Well, SAS drives are for enterprise, they are for data center use, so everything is maxed out. They are designed to work 24/7 from the start. The MTBF, the mean time between failures of this drive, is 2.5 million hours. Now, this drive was manufactured in 2019, April 2019, so let's say this drive has been running 24/7 for 5 years. That makes it 50,000 hours, which is way below the MTBF. Now, this doesn't mean that the drive will last 2.5 million hours, but it's a pretty high number, and 50,000 hours is so much lower than the MTBF, so I think I can be confident that this drive, touch wood, is going to last quite some time in my NAS. I'm reading online that SAS drives are usually more resilient, they have better error correction inside, and apparently they are full duplex. My understanding, again, please do comment down below if I'm saying rubbish here, SATA drives are half duplex, so either the write or they read, while apparently SAS drives can do both writing and reading simultaneously, which I don't really understand, as obviously it's a mechanical operation, you need the head in a specific position, so I'm not sure whether it's from the electronics point of view, that the electronic can receive and send at the same time while the heads and the platters are positioning to wherever they're needed to. I don't really know, but that's what I found online, that these are full duplex. This is a 12 gigabit per second drive. SATA drives can only go to 6, though the controller I've installed in my MicroServer, it's only a 6 gigabit per second, so that's not going to make any difference. And honestly, I think there is a point where the bottleneck of the whole system is going to be the CPU, which is very slow. But if you have a 12 gigabit controller, well, these drives can go up to 12 gigabit and even more, I understand. So, long story cut short, SAS drives are more reliable, faster, and when second-hand, they're cheaper, simply because data centers would not want to install a second-hand drive. So I'll be testing this server, which by the way is not an N40L, this is an N54L. I purchased another one, yes, I think I have 3 around here, I need to get rid of one. And the reason is the N54L is basically the same price of the N40, but I think it's about 40% faster. I mean, it's still very slow, it's 40% faster than slow, so it's still slow, but why not? They more or less come for the same price, and I really would like to make one of these boxes as my main server with as much storage as possible, and I don't really know what that max storage possible is going to be. What do you think about this? Do you think it's a good idea, or am I running into uncharted territories where the hardware is not going to be enough for this huge amount of data, and whenever something happens it will take absolutely forever to reprocess everything or resilver the hard drive? Am I just asking for trouble to just use such old and slow machines? Do let me know down below in the description. I like reading all your comments. And with this we reached the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, as usual, I'd appreciate a thumb up down below. And also consider subscribing to my channel and my main channel if you like these kind of things. Don't forget I'm on Facebook and Patreon. The links are down below in the description. There is a free tier on Patreon, so no excuses. But if you don't want to join me on Patreon, well, maybe you can just buy me a coffee, and the link is also down below in the description. If you don't want to buy me a coffee, well, I hope you enjoyed the video. Wish you a great day. Thank you for watching. Hope to see you soon here on my channels for my next videos. Thank you very much, and goodbye. Bye-bye.